Hi everybody, welcome to GTCoding. In this tutorial series, we are creating this simple application demonstrating the CRUD operations in MongoDB using Next.js. And in the previous video, we created the backend of our application and we tested all the routes with Postman, and everything is working alright. We have created the routes for creating, reading, updating, and deleting the content. Now in this video, I'll show you how to connect the backend to the front end. So this is the front end of our application. So in this video, we will connect the backend to the front end. So all the data that we have in this MongoDB collection will be displayed over here in this front end. So let's get started. Right here, I am in my source code, and let's go to this page right here. So this is the home page. So if you go to the page.jsx file, and here we have this component called topics list. So let's go into the component. You can just press Ctrl or Command and click. And here we are in this topics list component. Now if you take a look at this, we can see that the content of the topic is hard-coded over here. So we have this topic title and it is displayed over here. Now what we need to do is we need to get this topic title and description from this MongoDB collection. So for that, let's go ahead and first of all, let's fetch the topics. So I'll just go ahead and create a function for that. I'll just call it getTopics, and we'll just make it an async function. So let's create an arrow function over here. And here let's add a try-catch block. And here in try, let's go ahead and fetch the data. So I'll just type await fetch. And we need to go to the endpoint. So if you go over here to the API folder, here we have this folder called topics, and in that we have this file called route.js. And if you go to the file, and here we can see we have this get method, and in that we are getting back all the topics. So let's go back to the component, which is topics list. And here let's add the API endpoint. So I'll just type http://localhost:/API/topics. So this is the endpoint that we need to hit. Now by default, the fetch method in a Next application will cache the data. So once you get the topics, and if you make some changes in the database, and then if you fetch this topics once again, then the updated data will not be fetched because it will store the first data as a cache. So let's go ahead and add an option for that. So we just type cache, and we need to set it to no store, so that every time we hit this endpoint, we need to get the updated data. Right now, let's store this result inside a constant. So I'll just type const res equals await fetch. Right now, let's go ahead and check whether we have the result. So I'll just type if res dot okay. Well, let me just check whether it is not okay. So I'll just add an exclamation over here. And here, let's type throw new error. And here we will throw a new error, and I'll just type failed to fetch topics. And if we have the data, then let's go ahead and return it. So I'll just type return res.json. And here in the catch, let's go ahead and type console.log. And I'll just type error loading topics. And let's add the error over here. Right now, let's call this function getTopics in our topics list component. So here let's type await getTopics. And let's go ahead and destructure the topics from this. So I'll just type const topics equals await get topics. Now here we can see that we have this error. That's because we have added await over here. So we need to change this into an async function. So here I'll just type export default async function. Right now the topics are being fetched. Now let's go ahead and map through all the topics and display the topics over here. So here inside this React fragment, let's go ahead and type topics.map, and for each of the topics I'll just call it T, and let's go ahead and return a div. So I'll just type parenthesis, and now we need to add all this div inside this map. So let's cut these ending brackets from here, and let's paste it down here. So this whole division will be inside this map. Right now, let's go ahead and change this topic and this description. So if you go back to the MongoDB collection, here we can see that we have these keys, title and description. So here, instead of topic title, let's go ahead and type curly braces, t.title, and here let's type curly braces t.description. And here for edit topic, we need to add the ID of the topic. So let's go back to MongoDB, and here we can see for the ID we have this underscore ID. So let's go back, and here instead of 123, let's type $ curly braces, and let's add all of this inside backticks. And here let's type t._id. Right, now let's go back to our website and let's see whether the topics are displayed. So here we can see that the topics from the MongoDB database are displayed over here. Let's go ahead and make some changes over here. So I'll just change this title to just CSS, and let's go ahead and click on update. Right, now let's go back to our website and let's refresh this page. And now we can see that the title has been updated. So we are getting all this data from this MongoDB collection. Right, now let's click on this edit button. And here we have the ID of the topic. So here it ends with C56. So here we can see for CSS it ends with C56. Let's go back and let's open the second one, React.js, and it ends with C6C. And here we can see for React.js it ends with C6C. So the edit link is working all right. Right, now let's go ahead and write the code for the add topic page. So if you go to the add topic page, here we can see we have this form, and we need to get the data from these input fields and we need to add it to our database. So let's go back to our code, and here we can see we have this page called add topic. So this is the form. Now for this page we need to add interactivity from the client. So we need to change this into a client component. Now by default all the pages and components in Next.js project are server components. Now to change this into a client component, you can just type use client over here. And now if you go ahead and type console.log and let's type hi. And now let's go back over here and let's open the console. And let's go to the add topic page. And here we can see it says hi. Now if you go ahead and change this into a server component. And now if you go ahead and if we refresh this page, here we can see that hi is not displayed over here. It is displayed in the terminal. So if I just open the terminal, here we can see that hi is being displayed. Let me just refresh this page. And here we have hi displayed. So right now this is a server component. So let's go ahead and change this into a client component. So I'll just type use client. Now the first thing you need to do is you need to get the data from these input fields, and we will store it inside a state. So let's create states for that. So I'll just type const, and I'll just call it title. I'll just call the function set title equals, and let's type use state, and let's import it from React. And by default the value will be blank. And let's do the same for the description. So I'll just type const description set description equals use state and blank by default. Right, now let's go to the input field and let's add an onChange handler. So I'll just type onChange. Here we'll just create an arrow function, and we need to access the variable over here. So we will call it e, and with this parameter you can go ahead and get the data from this input field. So here I'll just type set title, and here we need to pass e.target.value. And then we need to set the value of the input field to the value of this state. So I'll just type title over here. And let's do the same for the description. So I'll just copy these two lines of code and let's paste it over here. And I'll just change title to description. Right, now let's create a function called handle submit. And let's call the function over here on the form onSubmit. So I'll just type onSubmit, and let's type handle submit over here. So this function will be called when we click on this submit button. So we'll also change this button into a type of submit. Alright, let's go back over here and let's write this handle submit function. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to prevent the default behavior. So here I'll just type e, and here let's type e.prevent default. Now this will prevent the default behavior, which is refreshing the page once the button is clicked. And now first of all, let's go ahead and add an input validation. So I'll just type if exclamation title or exclamation description. So if any of these values is not present, then I'll just add an alert. So I'll just type title and description are required, and let's type return over here. Right now, if we go back to our website and if I click on this add topic button, we can see that it says title and description are required. Now let's go ahead and write the code to add it to our database. So for that, let's go ahead and create a try catch block. And here in the try, let's go ahead and use the fetch API. So I'll just type await fetch. And now we need to change this into an async function. So I'll just type async. Right now here in the fetch, let's add the endpoint, which is http://localhost:3000:API:/topics. And here let's add some options. So I'll just type method, and we need to set the method to post. And then we need to add headers. So I'll just type headers. And in the headers, let's type content type. And we need to set it to application JSON. And then we need to have the body. So I'll just type body. And we need to add the title and the description, which are over here. Now we need to pass them as JSON. So let's type JSON.stringify. And here let's type title and description. And let's store the result inside a const. So I'll just type const res equals await fetch. Now if the topic is created, we need to go back to the home page. So for that we will use router in Next.js. So for that you have to import router. So here let's type import, and here let's type use router from next navigation. And here let's type const router equals use router. And here after the topic is created, we need to go to the home page. So let's type if res.ok. Then let's go ahead and type router.push, and let's add / over here for the home page. And if it is not the case, then let's add an else. And here let's throw a new error. And here let's type failed to create a topic. And here in the catch, let's go ahead and console.log the error. Right now, let's see whether this works. So let's go back to our website. Here let's add a topic. So let's type JavaScript, and here let's type a programming language. And let's go ahead and click on add topic. And here we can see that we are taken back to the home page, and we have the topic displayed over here. So the topic is being added. Let's go to the MongoDB database and let's refresh this page. And here if we scroll down, here we can see that the JavaScript title is being added over here. So the add topic page is working all right. Let's add a new topic, and let's click on add topic. And here we can see that it is being added. Right now let's go ahead and write the functionality of deleting a topic. So when we click on this delete button, we need to delete the topic. So let's go back to our code, and let's go back to the topics list component. And here we can see we have this component called remove button. So let's go to the button, and here we have this button. Now if you go back to the route, and if you scroll down, here we have the code for deleting the topic. And here we need to get the ID as a search param. So what we're going to do is, if we go back to the topics list component, here we can see that we are having access to the ID. So let's go ahead and send the ID to this remove button component. So here I'll just type ID equals, and here let's type t._id. And now we will be able to have the access to the correct ID in the remove button component. So let's go to this component. Here let's go ahead and get the ID, and I'll just destructure it, and I'll just type ID over here. Right now let's go ahead and create a function over here, and I'll just call it remove topic, and this will be an async function. Now here the first thing we will do is we will ask for a confirmation. So let's type const confirmed equals confirm, and here let's add are you sure, and here let's type if confirmed, and if the user clicks on yes, then let's go ahead and delete the topic. So I'll just tap await, and we need to hit the endpoint of http colon localhost colon 3000 / API / topics, and here we also need to send the ID as a search param. So I'll just tap question mark ID equals, and let's add the ID over here. So we are getting the ID from here. So I'll just change this into backticks, and here let's type $symbol curly braces. Let's tap ID over here, and let's set the method to delete. Right now for this button we need to add an on click, and when we click on this button we need to call this function. Now since this is a user interaction, we need to change this into a client component. So here at the top, let's tap use client, and here let's type on click, and here let's call the function which is remove topic. Right now let's see whether this works. So let's go back to our website, and let's remove this topic right here. So let's click on this delete button, and here we have this confirmation, and if I click on cancel, the topic is not removed. Now let's click on delete, and let's click on OK, and now let's refresh this page, and now we can see that the topic is now removed from the home page. Now we had to reload the page after deleting the topic. So for that, let's go back over here, and here I'll just reload the page after deletion. So for that we need to import use router. So I'll just type import use router from next navigation, and here inside this component let's go ahead and type const router equals use router, and let's go ahead and type router.refresh over here inside this if condition, and here let's also store it inside a const, and here let's type if res.ok. Then let's go ahead and refresh the page. Right now let's go ahead and test it out. So let's delete this HTML topic. So let's click on this delete button, and let's click on OK, and here we can see that the HTML topic is now deleted and it is refreshed automatically. Right now the last thing we need to do is we need to write the functionality for this edit topic button. So for that let's go back to our code, and here we have this page called edit topic, and in here we have this component called edit topic form, and here we have this form. Now what we need to do is when we click on this edit button, we need to populate this ID and description over here. So if we click on edit topic over here, React.js and this description should be added over here by default. So for that let's go back over here, and we will send the topic ID, the topic title and description to this component from the page. So let's go back to the page. So here we have the page, and if you take a look at this, we can see that we are having this dynamic route. So we are getting the ID over here as a param. So for that let's go ahead and destructure the params over here. So I'll just tap params, and let's go ahead and destructure the ID from that. So I'll just tap const ID equals params, and let's go ahead and just console.log it over here so that we know that the ID is being received. So I'll just tap ID over here, and let's open the terminal, and let's go back to our website, and let's click on this edit topic button, and here we can see that the ID is being displayed. Let's click on another topic. So here for JavaScript, let's go ahead and click on edit, and here we have the ID of that topic. So the ID is being received correctly. Now let's go ahead and get the topic from the ID. So if you go back to this route, which is inside this ID dynamic route, here we have this function to get the specific topic by the ID. So let's go ahead and use fetch for this endpoint. So let's go back to the page, and here let's create a function, and I'll just call it get topic by ID, and let's set it equal to an async function. And here let's add a try catch block, and in the try let's type const res equals await fetch, and let's type http colon localhost 3000 API topics, and then we need to add the ID over here. So I'll just change this into backticks, and here let's add the ID. So let's go ahead and get the ID over here. So I'll just type ID over here. Now when we call this function, we will pass the ID, and let's add the ID over here. So I'll just type $, curly braces, ID. Now here we need to add cache of no store, because we want to get the updated data every time. We don't want to have any cache. But now let's go ahead and type if res is not okay. Then I'll just type throw new error, and here let's type failed to fetch topic. And if everything goes well, let's go ahead and return res.json. And here in the catch, let's go ahead and type console.log error. Right now let's go ahead and call the function over here. So I'll just type await get topic by ID, and let's pass the ID which we are getting over here. So I'll just type ID. And since we are using await, we need to change this function into an async function. So I'll just type async over here. And now let's destructure the topic from the results. So I'll just type const topic equals await get topic by ID. And from this topic, let's go ahead and destructure the title and the description. So I'll just type const title description equals topic. Right now let's go ahead and pass the title, the description, and the ID to this edit topic form. So here let's type ID equals ID, title equals title, and description equals description. Right now let's go to this edit topic form, and here let's get all these details. So here let's type ID, title, description. Now here in this component, we're going to have a lot of client interactions. So let's change this into a client component. So I'll just type use client. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to store these title and description inside a state. So let's create a state, and let's call it new title. And here for the set function, I'll just type set new title equals use state, and let's import it from React. And by default, the value will be this title that we get from the page. Right now let's type const new description set new description equals use state, and we'll just set the default value as this description. Right now we need to change this new title and new description based on the input that we have inside the input field. So here let's type on change, and here let's type e, and let's call set new title, and let's type e.target.value. So this will store the current value of the input field inside this new title state, and let's set the value of the input field to the value of new title. So I'll just type new title, and we'll do the same for the description. So I'll just copy this, and let's paste it over here, and let's change title to description. Right now let's create the function for handling the submit. So I'll just type const handle submit, and let's prevent the default behavior. So let's type e.prevent default, and here inside this form, let's go ahead and type on submit, and let's call the function handle submit. And here let's add a try catch block, and let's type const res equals await fetch, and we need to change this into an async function. So I'll just type async over here. Now for editing the value, we have this endpoint which is API topics, and then we have this ID. So let's type http localhost 3000 API topics, and here let's add the ID. So I'll just change this into backticks, and let's type $, curly braces, ID. Right now let's go ahead and add some options over here. So I'll just type method, and let's set the method to put, and let's type headers, and let's set the headers to content type application JSON, and then let's type body, and we need to pass it as JSON. So let's type json.stringify, and here let's type new title and new description. And here let's go ahead and check whether everything is okay. So let's type if res.okay, or I'll just change this into not okay, and here let's type throw new error, and let's type failed to update topic, And if everything is okay, we need to go back to the home page. So for that, let's go ahead and import use router. So I'll just type import use router from Next navigation. And here let's type const router equals use router. And let's scroll down, and here let's type router.push. And we need to go to the home page, so let's type /. And here in the cache, let's type console.log error. And let's see whether this works. So let's go back and let's go to the home page. And let's click on this edit button, and we are editing the CSS topic. And here we can see that the topic title and the description are populated over here. Let's go to this topic right here, JavaScript. And here we have JavaScript and the description displayed over here. Let's make some changes. So I'll just change this to Python. And let's click on update. And here we still have JavaScript, but if we refresh this page, now we can see that it says Python. So let's go back over here to this edit component. And here I'll just also type router.refresh so that it gives us the updated data. But now let's go back over here and let's change this to, let's try C++, and let's click on update. And now we can see that it is updated over here. So everything is working all right. I'll just change this to Next.js. Let's click on update. And here we have the updated topic. Let's click on delete. And it is deleted over here. Let's add a new topic. I'll just type SSR server side rendering. And let's click on add topic. And here we have the topic added. So everything is working all right. So that's basically how you can create a simple application with CRUD operations on MongoDB using Next.js. So that's basically it for this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.